What's up, everyone? Grayson the Dean 221 Nichols here, as always, on the Elite Rounders YouTube channel. And today we're doing our usual weekly recap of the new Poker Go episode of Poker After Dark. And this week we got the second episode of, I'm not sure exactly what to call this one, but it's an interesting lineup of a bunch of pros and a WPT champion who's got his ninja kung fu outfit going. This guy is totally wild, really weird. He uses a chicken wing to as his card holder. Just really strange stuff. He's kind of funny though, so it's somewhat entertaining. And he won a WPT championship, so the guy knows what he's doing. There's a couple good players in the game. We got Ronnie Bardo, Marle Cordeiro, and also Alex Ding, who has been on a few of the high stakes poker episodes recently, and the dude plays really, really well. Definitely recommend watching what he's up to. He seems to have a really good feel for this stuff. But before we hop into today's hand, I want a quick reminder for you guys about the giveaway that we're doing next month. We are giving away a free month of poker coaching at Elite Rounders. All you got to do is subscribe here to the YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and then post your Instagram name in the comments here. And we'll enter you to a raffle that will be on Friday for a free month of poker coaching. So again, check that out, and we will do the raffle on April 30th. So check that out soon. So quick hand I want to talk about today. There wasn't a ton of action in last night's episode. Wouldn't really recommend, honestly, going back and watching this one. Usually there's some good action. The high stakes poker episodes are awesome. Definitely want to check those out. Maybe you can go back and look at some of the old retro ones instead if you're looking for something to watch this week. But there was one hand that I thought was kind of interesting, and there was one little facet to the hand I wanted to discuss with you guys. It could be a helpful tool for you all to use on your own. So they are running the Seven-deuce game. And for those who don't know the Deuce Seven game, you have to, if someone wins a pot with 2-7, everyone at the table has to pay them a decided amount of money, right? So at this game, I believe everyone's paying $200. So if you win the pot with Deuce Seven, you get an extra $1,000 basically. So this episode had about 5-6 different hands where people were playing the Deuce Seven, getting a little out of line with it, usually capitalizing. And this one in particular popped up that I thought had an interesting turn and flop combination play I wanted to discuss with you guys. So the Kung Fu Master straddles the pot. The action, first of all, is 5,100 cash game. He straddles to 300 under the gun, and Marle, a well-known professional and poker personality, really funny. Definitely check her out on Twitter. She goes ahead and raises with the Seven-deuce, going for that side money to 1,000. And the Kung Fu Master, Mr. Stapuchin, goes ahead and calls with Ace-10. Pretty standard on both counts. So the flop comes out 10-8-5, monotone, all clubs. Marle has nothing except for the initiative, and Stapuchin has top pair, top kicker, right? So this is where things get a little interesting, and I kind of dig her play, and I want to talk about it a little bit with you guys. So she c-bets here, which she likely should. I think on a board like this, so often your opponent's going to completely whiff. Even hands like ace jack of hearts, ace queen of diamonds, are going to be folds for Stapuchin in this spot. So I dig her c-bet, but I think on top of that, something that she did interesting was the sizing, and that's what I wanted to discuss today. So she just bets out 300 in this spot. Super small bet, like 1/7 of the pot, right? And what that does is it makes it a super easy call for Stapuchin with a lot of hands, right? But I believe she has further intention. I think the plan is to bet small here, bring him into the pot, and then really put him into the blender on the turn by betting big, right? And sure enough, he calls like he should. And then the turns of 4 actually giving her a little bit more equity with the gut shot, but I don't think that really mattered. I think her plan was kind of this from the get-go, right? And she fires out 2,000. Now she bets big. The pot's about 3K. Now she's going somewhere around like 2/3 of the pot, almost 70%. And I really dig this play. And it's funny because, this play reminds me back to when I was kind of coming up in the game and I would be up against players who were much better than me. And one of the common lines they would take against me was betting small on the flop and just like getting me to kind of come along a bit wider than I should. I'm like, oh, it's a small bet. I might as well tag along. I hear this from students all the time too. And then on the turn, they really amp up the heat. They bet big and then put you into a tough spot, right? And this is what good players do often, right? And I really dig this line by her. I think it makes a ton of sense because when someone, especially against a player who is somewhat thinking, they are going to put two and two together. They're going to be like, oh, they really roped me in on the flop. They sucked me in with an easy bet. And now they're really, putting me to the test. It looks strong. It feels like the type of line that someone is asking for the action early and now they're protecting themselves on the turn, right? So again, she bets like 1/7 of the pot, somewhere around like 15% on the flop, and then bombs it for about 70% on the turn. And sure enough, Stapuchin goes ahead and folds the top pair, top kicker. You can see his cards. He tosses them into the air with an aggressive muck, so to speak. And Marley, of course, flips over the 7-deuce, much to the table's chagrin. Mr. Barta here hanging his hat as he has to pay up the $200 with the rest of the table. And she scoops a nice pot. Not only does she get the $3,000 in the middle, but she also gets 1,000 from the table and a little extra street cred for a cool bluff. And making the guy fold top pair, top kicker is no joke. Not something I usually advise, but I think she took a very cogent line that makes sense. It tells a story. And we've talked about this in the old videos. When you're going to bluff, you got to do two things. One, tell a story that makes sense. Two, know what you're trying to make your opponents fold. The better you get at doing those things, the more effective your bluffs are going to be. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, make sure to go ahead and comment your Instagram name in the comments so you can get entered into that raffle for a free month of poker coaching. And we will see you next week for some more Hellmuth Negreanu action as we gear up for the duel part 2. Best of luck this week, everyone, and we'll see you on the felt. Take care.